Hello and welcome back. This is Jennifer and I'm here with more of my favorite crafty things for 2021-2022. Today I'm focusing on bundles. These are stamps, dies, stencils, and or hot foil plates that are meant to work really well together. In some cases they're purchased as a bundle, but in most cases you can buy each of the products separately so you can get just what you want. Now, I know bundles can be overwhelming because when you buy several products together, the price point is high. However, I'm hoping that this video is helpful for a few reasons. One, you can get a close look at some bundles that are available that can be used in many ways, and you don't always have to buy all of it. You can buy one or two pieces. Also, I'm hoping that by explaining what I think is a really good value in a bundle, you'll be able to better decide if a bundle or parts of a bundle are right for you to invest in the future. So today I'm sharing with you some really great bundles that I've found that I think work together creatively. Some are small, some are bigger, lots of options. Now, if you want to learn more about the products I share today, I recommend going over to my blog where you'll see images like this. Underneath each product is a button you can push for a different store. And there are also buttons you can push to watch videos using those products. I'll be showing examples throughout this video. If you want to see those examples in action, you can go click these buttons to see the video for each product. My hope is that this My Favorite Things Crafty series is helpful to you in getting a closer look at the great products out there, the great companies out there, and also how to better decide on what to invest in the future. Now, this is the second in this series so far. I've done stamps, and I'll link to that video up here on the top right if you want to check that out. And I'll be back in a few weeks where I'll cover dies. One last thing, if you are watching this close to the time the video went live, I encourage you to go to my blog. I have a link to a sales post, and that has lots of sales information, and many of the products that I'm talking about today are on sale. So be sure to check that out. The link will be below. Okay, let's get started reviewing some of what I think are the best bundles of 2021. Throughout this, I will let you know if the products are only available together or if they're available separately. All right, let's get started with a small bundle available at Tailored Expressions. This is called In Bloom Cling and Clear Combo. Now, this bundle has a background stamp that does the outline floral image, and then it also includes a small clear stamp set that has little images that allow you to stamp inside of the outline image. So you can create a colorful background like you see on the packaging. I think this is brilliant because stamping in all those flowers is definitely faster than coloring them in. And you could also do heat embossing or fun techniques because you have stamps to do so. I am planning to use this set this weekend, actually, to make a set of colorful note cards to give to a friend for her upcoming birthday. I am hoping that more combos come out like this in the 2022 because I think it is a brilliant way to create cards very quickly. And the price point isn't high because it's just a background stamp and a small clear set. Next up, I recommend two products from Gina Designs. There's a 6x8 stamp set and a die set. These are sold separately and they work really well together or really well separately. I like that option. The 6x8 stamp set is called Friendly Silhouette Stamps. I like that there are different images in here that you could use together, but also would work well separately on cards for different styles. Now, the die set is great for doing masking. So if you like doing ink blended one layer backgrounds, these dies are great for masking, but you could definitely use them for regular die cutting too. I really like the one that kind of creates a window look. This one creates a fun panel. There's an oval and a circle. And there are many examples over on Gina K's website on using these two sets together to create beautiful masked inked backgrounds. I also like that there are banner dies in this die set that work with the sentiments in the stamp set or with other sentiments you have. Then we have the word friend and the shadow die for it. Love this. And that shadow die also works to cut out the friend in the stamp set. So you can see how these work really well together or separately. I am currently shooting a video showing ways to step up your ink blending and masking using these sets. But in the meantime, Gina said I could share some examples she did. These are beautiful examples. that show how you can do masking and ink blending and stamping together with these sets. And I will have links over on my blog and down below to Gina's videos so you can see these in action. Next up, we have from Concord and Ninth a 6x8 stamp set and a die set that are available separately or together. It's called the Triple Step Blooming Heart. Now, the 6x8 stamp set has 3 large images that you can stamp together to build a beautiful floral heart. Lots of different sentiments in the set also, and individual flowers that you can stamp separately. Now, the die set has this outline heart with faux stitching on the inside edge, and you can use that together with this heart floral die, or you can use it to cut out the stamped heart. So this is a great example of a set that works really well together and also works really well separately. So if you prefer stamping, you can just get that. If you prefer die cutting, you can just get the die set. I am most drawn to products like this that work well together or separately because that allows you to use them in many more ways. I did a video where I did lots of examples using these 2 sets, a bunch of them, stamped, die cut, monochromatic, colorful, everything. And I was able to do that because of the number of ways they can be used. Next, we have from Hero Arts a 6x8 stamp set called Rainbow Heroscape. Then we also have a die set from Hero Arts called Rainbow Infinity. These are available separately, work very well separately, but also work well together. Now, the stamp set has arches, so you can stamp each of the arches of a rainbow a different color very easily. And what I really like about this set is there are sentiments on curves, so you can stamp the sentiments along the arches of the rainbow, which I think really sets it apart. There are also cloud, sun, star, and other images to include. The die set coordinates with the stamp set, but you can create a rainbow and cloud scene using the dies alone. Here's an example where I used the dies to create the scene, but then I stamped a sentiment along the arch using the stamp set. So this die set, like many others I'm sharing today, act not only as a coordinating die set, but as a standalone die set, making the value better. Next, we have from Simon Says Stamp and CZ Design the Silhouette Sentiments. This is a 4x6 stamp set, and then a coordinating die set. Now, it's common to have coordinating die sets available for a stamp set, and not really considered a bundle. These are available together or separately. But what I wanted to note about this is that the coordinating die set has dies that cut out the sentiments nice and close. I think that is a huge benefit because cutting those out nice and close would be tricky to do with your scissors. And by cutting them out nice and close, you have small sentiments that you can put on top of the focal point of your card, which I think is really good for a design. Now, this has some great basic sentiments and the coordinating dies to cut them out. So I think that's a helpful tip when trying to decide if you want to invest in coordinating dies for a stamp set. Look and see if the die set includes dies to cut out those tricky sentiments. For me, that adds a lot of value. Next up, we have the Gina K Designs Little Hello Stencil Bundle. Now, this is a bundle only available together. It includes this stamp set, 3 layering stencils for a floral background, very easy to line up, coordinating dies for those stenciled flowers, and also a hello die with the shadow that I don't have sitting here at the moment. Now, the stamp set has additional flowers that you can stamp on top of your stenciled background. It also has some wonderful sentiments. Please note that this bundle does also include a large hello script die and the shadow die to go with it. You can see them on the bottom right of this image. However, I just used these dies earlier this week and I cannot find them in my craft room to save my life. So I don't have them to show you at the moment. I'm sure I'll find them soon, but I have lots of card examples showing. The hello in the stamp set is a little bit smaller than the die, and I like that there are those 2 different sizes. I have used the bundle together for many cards, but I also find myself reaching for the hello die for other cards. It's just a nice addition to any background. Okay, next up we have from Altenew the Craft Your Life project kit called Seasonal Blooms. Now this year Altenew started the Craft Your Life series, which is a kit that includes tools that can be used over and over again. Each month they have a new kit. This happened to be their first one and is one of my favorites. I really like these kits because they contain tools that can be used over and over again, such as stamp sets, stencils, embossing folders, and dies. Now this particular one has this 6x8 stamp set with a large floral border and lots of sentiments. I really like that this kit also has the hello, thanks, and hi stamps, and it has the same in dies, and it has the shadow die. And the shadow die can be used to cut out the stamped images or to team up with the word dies themselves. So there are many different ways you can use these together or separately. And again, all of this comes together. This particular kit has this large border die to cut out that floral border, which is really handy. Then it has layering stencils that allow you to quickly color in that floral border. You could still color it with markers or paint it, but having the stencils is a really quick and easy option and also allows you to add glitter paste and other things. Now, I did a video with lots of examples using this kit. Here's one where I did a clear card and I used all of the elements from the kit. I also did some with fun gatefolds and other things. So kits like this that have elements that can be used over and over again are definitely bundles that I reach for the most. And this one here, I didn't even stamp. I just used the stencils alone for a completely different look. Another Altenew Craft Your Life project kit that I really like is their newest one, and this is called Vintage Tapestry. Now this has a 6x8 stamp set, an embossing folder, layering stencils, and coordinating dies. Now I ended up with 2 of these kits. This is the one I haven't opened yet. The other one I've been using to make a bunch of cards because these flowers are beautiful. They have this vintage classic feel to them that's just timeless. I like that on the stamp set, they kind of do a circle around which layering images go together. And the packaging comes with a layering guide, making it easy to figure out. I haven't finished the video yet to show you my cards, but there are many examples in the packaging, and look how beautiful these layering flowers are, just a timeless feel. I like that there are ideas included in this, and it also helps you to figure out different designs and color combinations you can use. The layering stencils in this can be used to create more elements. Here you can see a beautiful flourish background, and parts of this flourish stencil do line up with the embossing folder included in the kit too. Now there are 2 layering stencils for this flourish, so you can create something really beautiful with that. Then there are also layering stencils to create additional floral elements that you can team up with your stamp set. To make it even easier, Altenew puts little engraved marks in the stencil so you can line up with the inking you've already done. It makes it super easy to line up, so much easier than stamps. Now these stencils allow you to create even more floral images. So this is a really good example of a well thought out bundle or kit that can be used in so many creative ways. So this is definitely one of my favorite kits that they came out with this year. So when considering a product bundle or a kit, look at all the different elements and think about how much use you can get from them, how many different looks that you can get from them, and if you can team them up with products you already have. PinkFresh Studios is another company that does a lot of products that work really well together or separately. This is one of my favorites. It's the folk art birds. Now I'll show you in this packaging. These are the products available. There's a background stamp, a die to cut that out, a hot foil plate, and stencils to color in the image. All of these products are sold separately, so you could get 1 or 2 or whatever you think you would use the most. So here's the background stamp. It fills an A2 card nicely. There's also a hot foil plate, which happens to be a favorite of mine. Then there is the die that cuts out either the stamp or the hot foil plate. And then the layering stencils that will fill in any of those options. Now this may seem kind of crazy that there are so many products that go together, but these are sold separate so you can just get what you are interested in using most. If you don't have a hot foil machine, get the stamp. I like that there are different options so that different people can get what works for them. Now here's an example where I did the die, the stencil, and the hot foil plate together. Just a fun way to create, and it really doesn't take long because the products are so well thought out and they do the work for you. Next up from Concord and Ninth, we have the Make-A-Wish stamp set and die set. These are available together or separately. Now the stamp set is a small one, so it's got a great price point, and it allows you to stamp layered candles. You can even stamp the outline one and do basic coloring of it. However, the die set allows you to cut those candles out, and the die set allows you to create die-cut layered candles. So again, this works really well together or separately. Here I created a rainbow of candles for a birthday card. You could die cut some numbers and add that on top of the candles and have a personalized birthday card too. And here's an example where I made the candles pop up when the card opened. I think this is one of those die sets I'll reach for often anytime I need to create a quick birthday card. In 2021, I fell absolutely in love with the Mrs. collection. This is a collection of products where there are dies and stamps that can be used together to create people that look any way you want them to look. Now, there are so many products in this collection. I can't show them all to you, but you can mix and match them together however you want. So they're all available separately. This is an example of one set where there are dies and then stamps to add accents to that or the facial expressions, whatever. Since doing my video where I did lots of examples, they have come out with a collection of products for making men also. These are so much fun to use. My kids love using them, and they can really help you to personalize a card. So if you're looking for something completely different to try, I recommend checking out this collection. It's really fun to try to create people that look like people you know. For example, over there on the right, that's me with Gina K. Next, let's cover some word and sentiment bundles. First, we have from Photoplay this 4x6 stamp set and die set called Hugs, and these are available separately. I really like that this stamp set has the large words, but also small sentiments that team up with it to create clever sentiments, such as before I sent it, I gave this card a hug, sending you lots of hugs, I wish I could give you a hug, lots of things you can create from this. Then the die set has a shadow die that you can use to cut out those stamped words, but then also has the letters hugs that you can use with those shadow dies to create hug or hugs. So again, this is one of those kind of combos where you can use them together separately in many ways. And again, they are sold separately. I'll be using this in an upcoming video. Hero Arts does have several product bundles available that are stamps and dies, such as this Stamps and Cuts XL Happy Thanks. The price point is really good on these because they come together. So there is a 4x6 stamp set and the Happy and Thanks word dies. Now I use those word dies a lot on their own, but it works really well with this stamp set too. You can do thanks for being a great friend, wishing you a happy birthday, you make me happy, many ways you can use them. And I hope that they come out with more of these because the savings and the way you can use them creatively is definitely worth it. Here's an example where I use the thanks alone on a card. It's nice and large and really fills in the space and allows you to create a focal point. I stamped I appreciate you on the inside of this card. Over the past couple years, rainbows have been very popular, and I recommend this Waffle Flower oversized rainbow stamp set and die set because it works well with all the different rainbows we create, either die cut, stamped, or inked backgrounds. Now these are available together or separately. So there is a 4x6 stamp set that has lots of different words that you can put with the word rainbow to create special sentiments, such as sending you a rainbow, it takes sunshine and rain to create a rainbow, and much more. Now the die set has a shadow die and the word rainbow. You can use that shadow die with the die cut word, or you could use that shadow die to cut out the stamped word rainbow. So again, you can use them together or separately and buy them together or separately. Waffle Flower has a lot of sets like this with different words, and I encourage you to check out that collection if you like these types of bundles. Next, I recommend from Dare to Be Artsy a Simple Greeting 4x6 stamp set and coordinating die. These are available separately. Now the stamp set alone is a great one. Lots of different sentiments are included in this for different occasions, and each stamp is separate. Then there is the die that will cut them all out at once. There are products on the market that allow you to stamp all the sentiments at once and then die cut them all at once. What's different about this is this stamp set has each word individually. So if you want to stamp just hello on your card, you can do so. Or you can line up all the sentiments on the packaging as you see here, stamp them all at once, and then die cut them all at once. One way to stamp them all at once is to lay the stamp set on your desk, ink them up, and then press the cardstock on top. Then you can die cut it. Another way you can do that is to just tape this stamp set into your MISTI or whatever stamping platform you have and stamp them all at once. Then die cut them all at once. So to be able to line it up with the die, you just need to line up each word with the packaging, which is very easy to do. I like that these are individual stamps, so you can still stamp them individually directly on your card if you want. So that's something else to consider with these sentiment stamp and die bundles is how you can use them. Now these again are available separately, but I definitely recommend using them together. Another bundle I recommend because it's easy to use and works so well is from Mama Elephant, and it's called Easy Sentiments. There's this 4x6 stamp set, and it has clusters of sentiments. You stamp 3 at a time. It also stamps the little stars next to the sentiments, and you take the die, line up the stars on the dies with your stamp stars, and the die cuts out all 3 of those sentiments into strips perfectly. So easy to do. And you can use this die with all the different sentiments in this set. These are available separately. The nice thing is these sentiments are really clever, different than other things I already have. And Mama Elephant has come out with other stamp sets that are the same, these easy sentiments, that work with that die also. Now you could use this stamp set and just cut them out with the trimmer, but that inexpensive die is very helpful. Here's an example where I use the die with the holiday version of the easy sentiments to quickly add a sentiment strip to the bottom of my card. Another fun bundle is from Photoplay, and it's called Banner Sentiments. This 6x8 stamp set and the coordinating dies are available separately. Now the banner stamp set allows you to create little layered stamped banners, so it has the look of dimension. And then there are lots of sentiments you can stamp onto it. Then there are the coordinating dies that allow you to cut out those banners to add to your card. There are lots of clever sentiments in here, and the set includes a single banner and then also sentiments that allow you to create kind of a double banner. And let's face it, most of our sentiments are on straight strips, so this is a fun alternative. Here's an example of where I added the banner sentiment right on top of the focal point of my card. That way the eye is drawn right there and you see it all, including the great sentiment. Now, one of my most used bundles of the year is definitely the Greetery Opposites Attract. There is a stamp set and 2 different coordinating die sets, which is fun because you can get which you think you would use more. There's one die set to cut out the bold words, which I love. Then there is a die set to cut out the scripty words that work really well with it, such as just a note to say hello, thank you for the gift, and these are fun to work together. Now, I have lots of examples using these. I just really like the classic style. Here is one where I did the thank you, and then I did dear friend in the script right over top of it. And many times throughout the year when I was kind of stumped on what sentiment to add to a card, I reached for these. I really like the hello, and I definitely like the sentiment that says just a note, because that way I can use it for any occasion that I want. Now, remember earlier I said how I appreciate that PinkFresh Studio comes out with many different products that work well together so you can choose the option you prefer. This is another great example. This is the brushed sentiments. There's this large 6x8 stamp set. There are coordinating dies. There are hot foil plates and layering stencils that can all be mixed and matched, and they're sold separately. The stamp set allows you to stamp a bunch of words at once, then die cut them all at once. So there are 2 large stamps in the set, 2 large dies in the die set, and 2 large hot foil plates. So you can either stamp and die cut, you can hot foil and die cut, or you can layering stencil and die cut, or kind of put them all together. I even did examples where I did the foiling, stenciling, and die cutting together. Now, my personal favorite in here are the layering stencils. It allows you to create the words with beautiful layered look to them and then cut them out easily. Also, stencils have a pretty good price point and can be used in so many different ways. So I did a bunch of examples with these. My favorite, again, is the stencils, but I like that there are the different options available for whatever you prefer. Now, I did call this video my favorite crafty bundles, but as you've noticed, most of these products you don't have to buy as a bundle. Instead, you can pick and choose the pieces you want. I appreciate that companies are really putting a lot of thought into designing products that work really well together, so you can choose what works for you. Some people prefer stamping, some prefer die cutting, some stenciling, some hot foiling, so it's nice to have the different options available. I do know that many options can be overwhelming, so I'm really hopeful that this video helped you to figure out what to look for in different products that can be used together and help you to invest your time and money wisely. If you are interested in any of the products I featured here, I do link them below in my YouTube description. But again, I encourage you to go to my blog, where I have links to the products, to sales and deals, and also videos for the cards that I showed you in today's video. I thank you for spending this time with me. I'll see you again soon, and Happy New Year.